Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ. Let's do the 13th July PIB analysis. Please note that sometimes I might be late, but you will be getting the PIB analysis for the entire year till 2018 UPSC by me. So make sure that you follow the channel. Sometimes I might put two videos, sometimes three, sometimes one, but you will get each and every day's PIB analysis here. And if you want to prepare for UPSC, you can try our pen drive course. You have to dial this number to buy. But let me give you the best news. We have launched UPSC test series for 2018 prelims exam. It's an amazing test series prepared by our team of 5. They are completely managing it, and we got a huge response yesterday when we launched it. So for the first 500 subscribers, you can get 1500 rupees discount, and probably by tomorrow we'll have the first 500 subscribers. So log on to our website studyiq.com for more details. So let's begin. I always start my video with a important personality. Who is he? His fate will be decided on 5th of August. That is a very important day. He is also the son of a very important freedom fighter. Can you name him? Let's see who answers it first. So let's begin the video. Since we are talking about the presidential and vice presidential election these days, my first question is related to the president. There are 3 statements, 1, 2 and 3. You have to tell me which statement is true or which is false, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, etc. Suspension veto grants the president the power to withhold his decision and thus the bill for an indefinite period of time. So this statement says that suspension veto is, it gives the president a power that for indefinite period of time, for times which is not defined by the constitution, he can sit on a bill, and he can say that I am thinking about it and I am contemplating. So that is the power that suspension veto gives him. So this is the statement. So this statement is wrong. It is not suspension veto, it is pocket veto. There are 3 types of veto that the president enjoys. So suspension veto is basically the president can refer back the bill to the parliament for recalibration, rethinking, contemplating again. He can send it back to the parliament. That is called suspension veto. Pocket veto is the one in which he basically keeps the bill in his pocket, as the name suggests. And he says, well, I am basically thinking about it. Then second statement is, as per the 24th Constitutional Amendment Bill, Constitutional Amendment Act of 1971, the president's assent or approval to money bill is made obligatory. Is it like that the president has to say yes to a money bill at any cost? So this statement is also wrong. This is not money bill, this is Constitutional Amendment Bill. So as per the 24th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1971, the president's assent or approval of constitutional bill is made obligatory. So you can say that in, as far as Constitutional Amendment Bill is concerned, the president is virtually powerless. Chhattisgarh and Telangana, these 2 are the only states in India where the president's rule has not been imposed so far. This is correct. Out of the 29 states of India, 27 states have had president's rule at least once, but Chhattisgarh and Telangana are the only states where the president's rule has not been imposed. So let me elaborate a little on the president's rule. It is, as per the Article 356, it is also called state emergency. Please note that there is Article 352, which is national emergency, Article 356 is state emergency, and Article 360 is finance emergency. And financial emergency has never been imposed in India. Now, if I ask you, which is the state in India that has had president's rule for the most number of times? So number 1, it is Uttar Pradesh, 10 times, and number 2, it is Bihar, 9 times. But if I ask you, which state in India has had the president's rule for the maximum duration? The answer is Punjab, 3,510 days, which is almost 10 years. And most of it was during the 80s. We know that during the 80s, the militancy and terrorism was at its peak in Punjab, and the Babbar Khalsa and various other terrorist organizations, they were demanding separate Khalistan. So president's rule in Punjab was observed for 5 continuous years from 1987 to 1992. Please note, you will ask me here now, this is 5 years, right? Whereas the constitution allows president's rule for a maximum of 3 years. So this went beyond the constitutionally stipulated time of 3 years, even in Kashmir. So Jammu Kashmir has had president's rule for 2061 days so far, which is close to 6 years, and at a stretch between 1990 and 1996. So these 2 are the only occasions when the president's rule has gone beyond the maximum time limit of 3 years. Now let me also tell you a very, very important case with regard to president's rule that you have to mention in your essay answers. It is S.R. Bommai versus Union of India, 1994. Supreme Court gave the judgment in which Supreme Court defined, very, very clearly in completely unequivocal and unambiguous language that the provisions of the president rule, will be these, and apart from that it cannot be imposed, because it was seen that president's rule became a sort of a tool in the hands of the government to misuse it. So for example, from 1966 to 1977, when Indira Gandhi government was there, Then president's rule was imposed for a whopping 39 times. And when the Janata Party came, they also imposed it 9 times. So president's rule was a tool in the hands of the government to harass the opposition parties in a state. And therefore it was misused. And you know that governor's position is always influenced. So therefore, Supreme Court of India gave the judgment in which it prevented the misuse of the president's rule or Article 356 of the Constitution of India. Now, who is S.R. Bommai? He was the 11th Chief Minister of Karnataka, and he was also the HRD Minister, Human Resource Development Minister in the government of the United Front. That is, during the times of Deve Gowda and I.K. Gujral when they were the Prime Minister during 1996 to 98. Now, let's come to the news for today. Now, there is a author called Sangeeta Ghosh. She has paid rich tributes to President's wife, President Pranab Mukherjee, and his wife was Suvra Mukherjee, who expired last year. And there is a book written about her, that how she was very dedicated to music and art and her passions. And so very few people know about the late First Lady of India. Although in India we technically don't use the word First Lady, like in United States we use the word First Lady for the wife of the president, that is Melania Trump. We don't use it in India. So President's Lady, it's the name of the book, Pranabar Preyosi in Bengali. And this book is written by Sangeeta Ghosh. And this book was presented to the outgoing President Pranab Mukherjee by the outgoing Vice President Hamid Ansari, who has now held 2 terms as Vice President from 2007 to 2017. 2 terms. He is only the second Vice President in Indian history to have 2 terms after Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was first Vice President of India, and he held 2, not 1 but 2 terms as Vice President of India. Now, let me come to another news, which is regarding Northeast. So, all the 8, including Sikkim, all the 8 northeastern states of India, they are having a severe floods, especially 2, like Assam and Arunachal mainly. And as always, the media coverage is lukewarm. It is not covered extensively by the media. That discrimination is always there with respect to the northeastern states of India. So, Dr. Jitendra Singh, he is our Union Minister of State with independent charge for Development of Northeastern Region, DONER, Minister of State for PMO, Personnel, Public Grievances, Pension, Atomic Energy and Space. So a lot of departments are under him. He's the Minister of State in these, and he said we have assessed the situation. Now this flood is probably one of the worst in the history of Assam. 12 lakh people have been affected by it in 24 districts of Assam, affected by floods, and death toll has reached 59 in Assam and more than 90 in the northeastern states put together. And in Assam we have a very famous national park called the Kaziranga National Park, which is famous for one-horned rhino. And this is more than 50% of it is underwater now, submerged, and 70 animals have died in this national park. Besides, we are also having floods in Odisha right now and in Gujarat also. Now, you have to also remember some current affairs. So, there were 4 important cyclones that were seen in India, or not exactly in India, but they affected India. That's the right word, because some of these cyclones, they did not have the impact mostly in India. Now, another current affair that you need to know is that in September 2016, Andhra Pradesh government launched an app called Varuna. This app is regarding weather forecasting and these things. So, remember, government of Andhra Pradesh, and this app is fabricated by ISRO. Now, these important 4 cyclones are Varda, Mora, Rohanu and Kayant. Now, this is the peninsular India, and you know the coastal area of India. So, the Tamil Nadu, and then we have the Andhra, then we have Odisha above it. So, these are the coastal areas which are mostly affected by the cyclones, just adjacent to the Bay of Bengal. So, here we have the Arabian Sea, here we have the Bay of Bengal, and from Bay of Bengal, these cyclones, they originate and they affect these surrounding areas, even the Indian Ocean. So, these cyclones hit the eastern coast mostly. So, Cyclone Varda affected Tamil Nadu and coastal part of Andhra, and it came in December 2016. Then we have Cyclone Mora, which affected mainly other countries like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, Myanmar, but it also affected Andaman and Nicobar as it lies right in the heart of the Bay of Bengal. Then we have Cyclone Rohanu, which affected some parts of India like Tamil Nadu and coastal Andhra, May 2016. And we have Cyclone Kayant, again 1 year old, Tamil Nadu and coastal Andhra in May 2016. So these 4 cyclones were there. Now let me discuss an essay question. In UPSC Mains 2013 exam in GS paper 1, we had this question: how are cyclones named? And everybody was stumped basically. A lot of people I know personally who did not write the answer for this question. They found it too difficult. So let me elucidate this question and solve your problem once and for all. First of all, why are cyclones given names? So we can easily do without the naming them also, right? But then the problem is, let's say there is a cyclone in India. Now you know that the the Indian Standard Time is 82.5 degree, right? That is the time we have in India. These are called longitude, these are called latitude. Okay, so equator is a latitude. Now we defined the cyclones by latitude and longitude, and therefore it was very difficult for everyone to follow, and difficult in reporting in the media. So therefore, if we name them, it becomes very easy for people to remember those, number one. Second, we can easily communicate the name through media, through electronic media, etc. And we can communicate, so there is more preparedness to deal with the natural disaster, that is cyclone. So this is according to the World Meteorological Organization. It's an agency of United Nations which is headquartered in Geneva. Now please also note that there are two types of cyclones. One that are threatening in the sense they cause huge damage to animals, to human beings, to property, and these cyclones we don't want to remember. Like basically we don't want to name them again and again. That is why once they named, they are retired. The names are retired in case the cyclone causes massive damage to property and loss of human lives. Like for example, Hurricane Sandy came during Obama time. Hurricane Katrina came in United States of America during the time of George Bush. Their names were retired. So now we will not use the word Sandy and Katrina again. That is one protocol that we follow. But generally what happens is the hurricanes or cyclones that are in the Atlantic Ocean and the East Pacific Ocean, they are not very deadly. And therefore those names are used again and again. So that is one. And these are 5 important nodal agencies that you need to remember. One is ESCAP WMO Typhoon Committee, WMO ESCAP Panel on Tropical Cyclones, RAI Tropical Cyclone Committee, RA4 Hurricane Committee, and RA5 Tropical Cyclone Committee. These are the committees which are responsible for naming the cyclones. They hold annual or biannual meetings depending on from committee to committee, and it is their job to study cyclones, and these are basically tropical cyclone regional bodies responsible for naming of tropical cyclones. Now, how did it start in India? So let me tell you something. See, in the European countries, it started much back in 1950s, you know. But in India, we only started naming cyclones in 2004. So why this much gap of 50 years? Because India is a vast country. Different religion, caste, creed, races, they are here. So, you know, sometimes when we name cyclones, it can be ethically sensitive. It can be potential inflammatory, you know. And a lot of cyclones, they cause huge damage in India to human beings and animals. So therefore, these are very culturally sensitive issues, and we did not want to name cyclones as it might affect the sentiments of a particular religion or community or race or tribe, etc. So we were a little slow in that. Now, but the efforts were being made, and finally we started naming in 2004. Now, India Meteorological Department is responsible for this, which comes under Ministry of Earth Science. Right now, the Cabinet Minister is Dr. Harshvardhan for this. And so basically what happens is even the citizens, they can submit names to the Director General of Meteorology in the India Meteorological Department for consideration, but then there is a very strict and stringent selection process. So how should be the name? First, it should be short. Okay, you will not see a very long name for any cyclone. It should be short, clearly understood. It should have a meaning, and it should not be culturally sensitive. So no group in India should have objection to that, and it should not have any inflammatory meaning. You know, even if it is some other language, but it should not have any meaning which is which hurts the sensitivities of minorities, for example, or regional sentiments. It should not be like that. Okay, and as I said already, those cyclones which are death and destruction, they cause death and destruction, their names are retired after use. And this is very different to what happens in the Atlantic and Eastern Pacific countries, which reuses the same name again and again until and unless it is destructive. So Cyclone Katrina, we call it Hurricane Katrina in America. Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Sandy, they were destructive. So we don't use their names again and again. They were retired. And therefore, the first official attempt by India was at the WMO ESCAP Panel on Tropical Cyclones. They had their 27th meeting in 2000 in Muscat, which is the capital of Oman, and they agreed to start naming the tropical cyclones. And therefore, in 2004, there was an international panel on tropical cyclones. They decided that countries from this region, that is the Asian region, will start naming it, especially through those storms which arise in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, that is on the western side of India and on the eastern side of India. And 8 countries, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Maldives, Myanmar, Oman, Sri Lanka and Thailand, they started participating, and they came up with a list of 64 names. And there was a mutual understanding that we will name the cyclones only from these 64. Now, for example, I told you Cyclone Varda. This name was in fact proposed by Pakistan, and it is a Urdu word and it's an Arabic word which means rose. So not the best of names for cyclone, but it was recommended by Pakistan, and there's a mutual understanding in the countries. So we kept the name Varda, which affected some parts of Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, some parts of India also, like basically Tamil Nadu and coastal Andhra. Now, in the event of a storm, the regional specialized meteorological center that we have headquartered at New Delhi, it selects a name from the list if any storm arises. And right now the list is 64 names, but of course it can be expanded as and when required. And European countries started it much before, in 1953 only. But in India, we were a little late because we wanted to protect the sensitivity in the ethnically diverse regions such as India. What is the difference between hurricane, cyclone and typhoon? So cyclone, hurricane, typhoon, they all mean the same thing. In America, for example, hurricanes, they are in the Atlantic Ocean and the Northeast Pacific Ocean. We call them typhoon if they happen in Northwest Pacific Ocean and South Pacific or Indian Ocean. In fact, there is another word which is called chakravat. Chakravat. Because if you see cyclones, it's like this, or you can say like this when we denote them, So the direction also differs from a cyclone. We have low tension area, we have high tension area, we have clockwise, we have anti-clockwise. So in northern hemisphere, it is anti-clockwise direction. In southern hemisphere, it is clockwise. But there are a lot of things that you have to remember when you study a cyclone. So I hope now you will be able to answer that essay question, how to name cyclones. Now regarding weather, one important satellite that you have to remember is the INSET 3DR. This we launched in September 2016 last year. So it's also current affairs of science and technology. And this is our weather satellite. Official weather satellite of India is INSET 3DR. It was launched by GSLV, which is Geostationary Launch Vehicle F-05. One very important thing about this satellite is that it has a cryogenic engine. Now the word cryo means, very, very low temperature. So this satellite, it can tolerate very extreme temperatures. And earlier, India never had a cryogenic engine. In fact, we always used to borrow cryogenic engines from Russia. And the launch vehicles were also not ours. Launch service was provided by the French companies. But this GSLV, this INSET 3DR satellite, this is our own. We are using our own cryogenic engine, indigenous. This is very, very important achievement for India. And it's not like this is the first time that a Indian weather satellite is there. Although there are 3 important weather satellites that have been launched before this, and I will tell you about those in a bit. Now, who uses this satellite? What is their advantage? So they can do weather forecasting. That is the most important part. If a tsunami is coming, hurricane is coming, anything is coming, then we can forecast it. And who uses this? Indian Coast Guard, then Airport Authority of India for various activities, Director General of Shipping, Defense Services, fishermen, everybody needs it. And this satellite, basically, it covers the vast part of the Indian Ocean. And you know that Indian Ocean is affecting many countries. The cyclones, they affect many countries like Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives, Nepal, Seychelles, etc. So it also includes these areas apart from Indian Ocean. Okay, but areas of Indian Ocean also affect a lot of countries. And remember, we had the cryogenic engine. That was the biggest advantage of INSET 3DR. So it can tolerate extreme temperatures. Now, what is the difference between a GSLV and PSLV? This can be asked. Okay, GSLV is Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle. Okay, and PSLV is Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. So basically, Geo satellite will of course be in the geosynchronous circuit, geosynchronous orbit. And these satellites are in these orbits, they appear fixed. If you watch it from a particular location on the planet Earth, they will appear fixed. Okay, so therefore they don't need tracking system, tracking antenna, because they are always fixed at one place. Whereas PSLV, they are old, they have old technology. They are in a low Earth orbit and they need lot of tracking. Now there is a difference in some technical details you can know that the PSLV is used for delivering various satellites to low Earth orbit. It is designed mainly to deliver the Earth observation or remote sensing satellite with a lift of mass up to 1750 kg only, or sun synchronous circular polar orbit of 600 to 900 km altitude only. So this is the PSLV. Okay, it is used mainly to launch Earth observation or remote sensing satellite. Now GSLV, it can carry more weight up to 4 tons as compared to PSLV, which is 1.7 ton. Now GSLV, it can work in extreme temperature, as we have seen just now. That was launched, INSET 3DR. It was launched using GSLV. It can tolerate extreme temperature because it sometimes has cryogenic engine also, and it uses liquid hydrogen and oxygen compared to PSLV. So PSLV is becoming more obsolete now. And GSLV is based on advanced technology like the cryogenic engine. PSLV is old. With advancement in GSLV, now the dependence on PSLV can be finally reduced in India. Now I told you that there have been 3 important satellites that have been launched before INSET 3DR. Kalpana 1, INSET 3A and INSET 3D. These names you have to remember, and they are all in the geosynchronous orbit. Now another thing, the Space Application Center of ISRO, which is in Ahmedabad, it developed a weather data exploration application. It is basically a software. It is called RAPID. What is the full form of RAPID? Real-time analysis of products and information dissemination. I repeat, real-time analysis of products and information dissemination, which is called RAPID, and it is hosted by Indian Meteorological Department website. So basically the satellite will give you photographs, but those photographs will be processed by this software, which is called RAPID, and I'll show you how. So here we can see, I went to this website of Indian Meteorological Department, and you can see here, the name of the satellite is also given. This is a photo of today, 17th of July. And you can see across India there are clouds now. And this photo is processed by this software, you can see here, RAPID, made by ISRO. So this you need to know, RAPID. And there are a lot of facilities available. You can color code, you can use different colors, you can see the warnings, you can see like intensity of the disaster or things like that. So it's very beautiful software. You can go to the website and check it. And the 3 satellites which were already there before, these are old satellites. Now we are using INSET 3DR for weather, but there are 3 other weather satellites that you need to know. First is called Kalpana 1. It is named after Kalpana Chawla, the great Indian astronaut who unfortunately died in 2003 in the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster. And these are the specifications. You need not know this, but you need to know the name. And then we have INSET 3A, which was again very old, around I think 2003 only. And it's also a weather satellite, multi-purpose satellite, but mainly for weather and television broadcasting. And then we have INSET 3D. So it's an advanced weather satellite of India. It was around 2013. Now one question for you today, what is Antriksh? This question has been asked in SET PCS exams and UPSC also. What is Antriksh? Can you write in comments what is Antriksh? Now you know that ISRO, whatever it does, there is huge cost advantage that it has, because there is a lot of economical satellites that we have compared to other like Chinese CNSA or Japanese JAXA or NASA American or Russian Roscosmos. ISRO is very cost competitive. So a lot of orders ISRO is getting now. And for example, 104 satellites were recently launched. Out of 104, only 1 was Indian and most others were of other countries. So what is Antriksh? Now you tell me. Now let's come to some other very important news, which is because there was the second General Council meeting of National Livestock Mission, and our Agriculture Minister Radha Mohan Singh, he said some very important things which I'll discuss now and in detail. So what is National Livestock Mission? What is livestock? See, all the cattle and all the animals basically which you rear for milk, for meat, they are livestock. So it can be a pig, it can be a cow, it can be buffalo, it can be goat, sheep, all these are livestock. Any animal that you rear for commercial purposes, that is a livestock. So National Livestock Mission, it was started in 2014 after Modi government came to power. And what was the purpose? Purpose was to increase our livestock production, consumption, provide quality feed, fodder, risk mitigation through insurance of animals, skill development, technology transfer, all these were the aims. And he said, Radha Mohan Singh said in his speech, now there's an important word here, he said one of the reasons for setting up National Livestock Mission was to convert it from scheme mode to mission mode. So see, National Livestock Mission, it is not National Livestock Scheme. What is the difference? Mission is more target oriented. And that is why the state governments and various organizations, they are more lenient to complete their targets. It is for short duration, great focus is there, and it has a clarity of purpose compared to a scheme. So National Livestock Mission had 4 components. One is livestock development. It is organized into 4 submissions. First is livestock development. We need to increase the number of cattle, increase the number of pigs, increase the number of goat, sheep for commercial advantage to farmers who are into poultry, who are into livestock. Second, pig development in the northeastern region where pork and is very popular in the northeastern region of India. Then fodder and feed development. We need to provide quality fodder, quality food to the cattle and livestock. And then skill development. This is very important. We need to have skilled farmers into poultry, into livestock rearing. Technology has to be there for better commercial prospects. So regarding these, there were 4 submissions under National Livestock Mission. And as I said, it was started right after the government came to power in 2014, and qualitative improvement in the livestock production. Now, one of the biggest challenges that the animals face in India are the diseases. See, we don't have good hygiene conditions. If you go to villages, in cities nobody keeps livestock, so it is only in the rural areas where there is not much cleanliness, and there is a lot of diseases also, and some diseases are more challenging than others, like for example bird flu. Now bird flu is also called avian influenza. Now bird flu, what happens? Let's say there is a poultry farm for hen, okay, for chicken. Now, if there are 1 lakh chicken and out of that 5 get bird flu, then you have to kill all the, you have to cull all the 1 lakh, otherwise it will spread like anything. So that is why there are a lot of challenges like bovine encephalopathy, bovine spongiform encephalopathy, also called mad cow disease is there. Many types of disease are there. In fact, government started a campaign for tackling foot and mouth disease program. Many such programs are a part of National Livestock Mission. Foot and mouth disease is affects, as the name says, foot and mouth. There are lesions, there is injury marks on the, there are lesions on the face near the mouth of the cattle. Now let's do a true and false. Foot and mouth disease is a severe, highly contagious means which spreads from one animal to another, bacterial disease that affects horses, dogs and cats. Second is mule is produced by crossbreeding of male horse and female donkey. So let me touch upon both of these. First, foot and mouth disease, this statement is wrong. Foot and mouth disease is a severe disease, yes. Highly contagious, yes. It is not a bacterial disease, it is a viral disease. It is caused by virus, not bacteria, number one. Second, it affects horses, dogs and cats. No, never. It affects those animals. See, this is a cow, okay? And you can see the legs of a cow. They have gap in between. These gap are called hooves. So those animals which have hooves in their legs, they are affected by the foot and mouth disease, like cow, buffalo, these animals, not horses, dogs and cats. They are not affected by foot and mouth disease. That is number one. So this is wrong. Second, mule is produced by crossbreeding of male horse and female donkey. What is a mule? Mule is impotent or sterile. It is not able to produce offsprings. But mule has advantage. It has lot of girth, lot of power to carry, various instruments, various construction sites. It is used, mule, to basically use for loading of various instruments, and various of substances are loaded on mule. It is used for transport of goods. So mule is not a crossbreed of male horse and female donkey. It's opposite. It is female horse and male donkey. So this is also wrong. So you don't need to worry if you got these questions wrong. You are getting good practice. Now National Livestock Mission completed 3 years, right? So basically Radha Mohan Singh was he was telling about the achievements and milestones that has been achieved, and you don't need to remember this data, but you can have a basic overview. Like for example, lot of employment generation, entrepreneurship development programs have been launched, and a lot of animals have been provided insurance. More than 35 lakh animals have been given insurance. 3 lakh goat, 9 lakh pigs, and you don't need to remember this data again. So these are some achievements of National Livestock Mission. You can say that it has worked for farmers' benefit. Some other milestones. Now these you can remember. For example, earlier when the National Livestock Mission started, only 300 districts were covered. Now each and every district of India is covered. And second, earlier there was only insurance provided to the milch animal. Milch animals are the one which provide milk. Like you have you have like cows, buffaloes, etc. But later on, the other animals which are called pack animals, which are used for transport, like horse, mule, they were also covered in the risk assessment and insurance. Second, the benefit of subsidy is enhanced now. So it is 5 cattle per person per household. And in case of goat, sheep, pigs and rabbit, 1 cattle is equal to 10 animals. 1 cattle unit is equal to 10 animals instead of only 2 milch animals earlier. So it has been extended to other animals, number one. And second, the number of animals have been increased which can be insured. Now let's talk about some other news. India has set up its first TISC, okay, Department of Industrial Promotion and Policy, and this comes under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and our minister is Nirmala Sitharaman for the same. It is India's first technology and innovation support center. This is very, very important. I'll tell you why. So this, these TISC program, it was launched by World Intellectual Property Organization, and it started a TISC program. Out of the 42 countries which have this, India is not one of these, and India's economy is very big now. So India needed it, and the first will be set up in Punjab in Chandigarh. Now what exactly this is? What is intellectual property rights? Intellectual property rights are what you create. If I create a song, that becomes my intellectual property. This video is my intellectual property. So if somebody uses this video and starts selling it, it is piracy, right? Because it is my product. So therefore I should be given protection. So IPR rights are a big debate now in today's times and age, and every country needs to protect intellectual property rights and make more stringent and strict laws. Otherwise, a lot of things will happen. Number one, there will be no research and development. So for example, if I take 10 years and I build a machine, very good machine, which serves specific purpose, somebody else can easily build that machine. It can replicate. Therefore, I should be given protection. Otherwise, I will not be encouraged to make this machine again in the future. If you allow stealing of data, stealing of intellectual property. And second, there will be no research and development. Already we are lacking in innovation, research and development. If intellectual property rights are not protected, the research and development and innovation will get affected, and we will not be able to make progress in the World Global Innovation Index, for example. Then another very important part is that, let's say we want to invite America to invest in India, and there are no intellectual property rights. So whichever American company comes to India, now we have access to their products and services, and we can easily steal their IPR. Therefore, these companies will not come to India if we don't have stringent intellectual property rights. Therefore, for increasing investment, we need to win the confidence of these countries in ease of doing business, and therefore we need to protect IPR. But more importantly, this government has made huge strides when it comes to giving seriousness to protection of intellectual property rights, and this is one of those. In fact, the government started first time National Intellectual Property Rights Policy. This was in 2016. This is also current affair, very, very important. And the slogan was Creative India, Innovative India. Creative India, Innovative India. This was in 2016 when this policy was approved, and the purpose was just one, that we need to have strong laws and policies which can protect the intellectual property in India. And these were the objectives of these intellectual property rights policy that was adopted in 2016. Again, you have to protect IPR, you have to stimulate and generate IPR, you have to make IPR protection easy, effective, you have to commercialize IPR, and there should be strong laws, you have to have better enforcement. So these were the objectives. Now, why India needs to do this is because India is legally bound for WTO. India is a part of WTO, and WTO has two important things. One is that Doha Development Agenda. India is a signatory to it. India is committed to Doha Development Agenda, which also talks about IPR. Second is the TRIPS agreement. TRIPS stands for Trade Related Aspect of the Intellectual Property Right. This is a part of the WTO, International Legal Agreement between all the nations who are a member of the WTO. That is why India is legally bound also to enforce WTO framework of Doha Development Agenda and TRIPS. And as I said, if we protect IPR, we can attract investment, we can promote innovation, and we can promote research and development. Now, two important indexes that you have to remember is Global Innovation Index. India was nowhere till 2015. For the 5 years in a row, we were declining. But for the first time in 2016, we were 81st, and then we jumped 15 position to finish 66th. So in Global Innovation Index, we are improving now. This is very much related to IPR. And second is the index of the human capital and research. Again, we were lagging behind tremendously. Even in BRICS countries, we were the last. In Asia also, apart from one or two countries like Indonesia, we were lagging behind from most of the countries. And we were 103rd in 2015. But look at our jump. We jumped to 63rd place in 2016. So we need to do well in these indexes also to attract countries. Now let's come to the last news, which is no GST will be there on the hostel fee. This was one concern. As such, education and healthcare are outside the ambit of the GST, but government made it very, very clear that there will be no GST on the boarding charges, lodging charges, on educational institution. There will be no GST on the hostel accommodation fee. So this was the PIB today. And as I said, I will bring PIB of each and every day. Just be patient. That's all. Thank you.